Hello, my kako, and good morning. Hope you and your ohana are well. Mahalo for joining us today in person and online. I'm Mike Gabbard, the state senator since 2006, representing District 21, which includes Kapolei, Makakilo, Kalaeloa, and portions of Fernandez Village and Eva. If you are a first timer to these meetings, we start promptly at 9 a.m. and finish promptly at 10 a.m. So if you don't get a chance to ask your question or concern, then you can send me an email, then we'll follow up with you. Also, the meeting is being recorded and it will be available on YouTube. First, introducing my two full-time staffers, Meg Turner and Melanie June, who are with us this morning. Meg is my office manager, and she has worked for me since 2014. And Melanie, my community liaison, she's in her second year with us and doing a phenomenal job. So let's jump right in. You may have seen in the news recently, there's a racetrack planned for West Oʻahu, just down the road in Kalaeloa off of Coral Sea Road and Roosevelt. And that's on that road that goes down to White Plains Beach. And it was the day before yesterday that Meg and we did a site visit just to check out the location to get a boots on the ground feel for the project. And so to be clear, I am neutral on the racetrack at the moment, and I'm gathering all the facts before I weigh in pro or con. Also, my office had some requests to find out more details about the project. So I invited two guest speakers to join us today to discuss the racetrack. And then we'll have your questions, take care of your questions after they speak. So our first guest is online, and that is Nate Serota, who many of you may already know. Nate's been the public face and voice of the Honolulu's Department of Parks and Recreation since 2016. He handles all their media, he runs their social media, takes photos, shoots videos, you name it, he does it. And he's helped grow the department's online community to over 15,000 followers. And he's always out there talking story about our parks here on Oahu. If you've ever seen a video of a park blessing or a mural that's going up, chances are Nate was behind the camera and the microphone. So before DPR, Nate spent 10 years in the local news, local TV news, that is, and he got 2 Emmy Awards to prove it. He's also big on community service, helping organize cleanups and promoting local artists through park murals. And by the way, he's also a fire dancer too. So Nate will provide an update on the track land from the Parks and Recreation Department's perspective. And Nate, take it away.
Sure. First off, good morning, everyone, and thank you to Senator Gabbard and to Lee for holding this opportunity. My name is Nate Serota, as Senator Gabbard mentioned. I'm with the Honolulu Department of Parks and Recreation. And I'll start from the beginning of kind of where this land came from and what the opportunities are. So back in June 2024, it culminated really almost decades of work to transfer what was land formerly from the Navy Air Station, Barbers Point Air Station, over to the city through a program that's called BRAC, which stands for Base Realignment Campaign. So basically what happened was it was the old air station operated by the Navy, and it was transferred over, and they didn't need the properties anymore. It was surplus for the Navy. And so we've been working with them for years to get that signed over to the city for parks and recreation purposes. And it was just finalized in June of last year. So fast forward these couple of years, we've been in a lot of conversations with the National Park Service and with the federal government regarding what uses that we can have for some of these park lands while we develop a master plan. And so we were able to get confirmation from them last month, early in June, that we can start using a particular parcel within that 400 acres that was transferred over to us for an interim dirt motorsports track. So what that means is basically while we are developing a larger master plan for the 400 acres that came over to the city through this larger base realignment campaign, we can develop a dirt race track on a particular lot that's near the corner of Independence and Coral Sea Road on the Makai end of that parcel. So that while we are developing this larger master plan, which will take some time, we can have a facility for the motorsports and dirt biking community that we've desperately needed for a long time, since the Oʻahu Motorsports track not down the street in Coral Sea Road closed nearly 2 decades ago. So the announcement that we made, it was actually very serendipitous timing. We got the approval from the National Park Service literally the day before the last mayoral town hall meeting on June 6th or June 5th, excuse me. And so we were able to make that announcement and then put that out there to the public when we had that information confirmed. Now, it is important to remember that this is an interim dirt racetrack. So basically, again, what we're trying to do is accommodate this recreational need that we have from the community while we are developing the larger master plan for the 400 acres that we received in Kalaeloa. So by no means is this intended to be a permanent facility, though through that master planning process, if it's determined that we want to keep the racetrack there, certainly we can do that. But we are going to certainly engage the community and go through a lot more steps when it comes to developing those other 400 acres that we've developed or that we've received from the Navy. And Lee Cobian and Oʻahu Motorsports has been a fantastic partner in this. They've helped with develop racetracks, whether that's BMX tracks or other recreation opportunities here on Oʻahu and across the country. Most notably, they've worked over at Sand Island. I know that Lee helped with the BMX track that's over on Sand Island over there. And this really is, a lot of people may not consider motorsports a recreational activity, but it absolutely is. If you look at any, Formula One, NASCAR, or kind of the higher levels of those, you look at those gentlemen and ladies and gentlemen, and they are athletes. You need to train for that activity. And so very much motorsports, whether that's dirt biking, dune buggies, off-roading, is considered a recreational activity. And there's really no public facility that we have here on island outside of the Kahuku motocross track up in the North Shore. So it's very much a facility that we need. But again, it is not the only use that we intend to have for this 400 acres that we receive from the Navy. We do very much want to hear from the community on what the recreational needs are, especially as Kalaeloa and Kapolei are growing and thriving areas of the island, really the second city.
All right. Is that it, Nate?
Yep, that's it.
Can you stick around for Q&A after Lee's? Great. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. So our second speaker is Lee Cobian. He is the president of the Oʻahu Motorsports Association, OMA. I invited Lee here today so he can give an update on the racetrack and directly answer questions folks in the community have raised. So again, this is about transparency and making sure that we have all the facts. And by way of introduction, Lee is, as I mentioned, president of OMA. He's a Department of Defense and EPA environmental government contractor with over 35 years of experience. He's the owner of Asbestos Analytical Consultants and has been working in environmental construction and safety here in Hawaii since 1995. Lee's been involved with the Kalaeloa Motorsports Park project since 1998. So that's 27 years of hands-on work and collaboration with the city to move this vision forward. He also served on the City and County of Honolulu's Department of Parks and Recreation Board from 2011 to 2018, and he's received multiple commendations from our state and city leaders for his work with at-risk youth and action sports education through his company, Local Moto X. And in addition to all that, he's also a decorated national ski racer, ranked third in the country in the 2017 NASCAR National Championships, and he still competes as part of the U.S. Masters circuit. So Lee brings deep experience and passion to this project, and I'm glad he's here with us today. With that, I'll turn it over to Lee.
I want to thank everybody for coming. Thank you. Thank you so much. Come on in. There's people at the door, and we're trying to accommodate them. Like Senator Gabbard said, this is like the record packed house for his community meetings. All right. First of all, I want to make a kind of a declaration here. I'm going to start, and this is voluntarily. I wrote this myself. I, Lee Cobian, hereby state that this invitation to provide information and an update on the city motorsports park project is in no way an expression of endorsement or promotion by Senator Gabbard, and any information, opinions, and statements that I provide are strictly by me. It does not reflect the opinions or ideals or sentiments of Senator Mike Gabbard or the Department of Parks and Recs. All right. So, Third Motorsports Recreation. What is that exactly? Is that footage is, that's actually Coral Crater Adventure Park. That park is literally 186 feet away from the homes. They've never got a noise complaint or a dust complaint. So I just want to emphasize that this can be done without causing a disturbance of the neighborhood. The property that we're proposing is almost a mile away. So if these guys can do this 186 from the homes, I'm sure we can handle almost a mile away doing motorsports. So that's the intent of that video. Nathan, thank you so much. You covered a lot of stuff that I was going to cover, but let's go to the next slide. Right here, like Senator Gabbard said, yeah, 1998. That's when we started this, to apply for the property. I was on the Governor's Council Health and Fitness and Recreation back in 1998. I was the head aerobics instructor for the YMCA. And I was appointed to get this draft going on with Bill Balford, the parks director at that time. And so we pushed and pushed, and we got this resolution done. And that's when it all started. And, you know, people say, wow, that's a long time ago. And I go, yeah, you know, Andrea Tupola was 18 years old back then. Took 27 years. So what it is, it's 400 acres that we applied for it. And it's like Nathan said, BRAC, base realignment and closure. And it's under the federal parks, federal lands to parks program under the National Park Service. So the National Park Service has a lot to do with it. They were the intermediary between the Navy and the city. And that was resolution 98-258. Okay, next one, please. So in 2018, almost 18 years later, nothing happened. So we're like, okay, we gotta get this going. So, and I want to give a lot of props to our ex-councilwoman Ann Kobayashi, because she is the one that really helped me. I drafted these resolutions and we got them approved. 18-73 is a resolution urging the city, and this is all under the Parks Committee, urging the city administration to facilitate and develop a motor vehicle raceway track or raceway park. Then after that, 18-265 to expedite the transfer, 2018. So 7 years later, finally, it got transferred. So next one, please. This is from the time, and we were doing 18-73 at the city council, doing the presentations, motor vehicle race for urging the city. You can see it. 1873, next, please. 18-265 to expedite the transfer finally. And I know we used the word expedite, but it took another 8 years after that.
8 years?
Yeah, 8 years. That's Avery. That's Avery. You want to know how long he had black hair?
You too, Lee.
Ed Kemper. There's Ed Kemper, and then we had the UH race team. A lot of people don't realize that the UH has under their mechanical engineering department a actual Formula One race team, and they compete every year at the national collegiate level. Next one, Melanie. During 2018 and 2019, 6 months of presentations and talk from April to September 2019. We all went, all the motorsports guys. Here's one. August 28 was our final presentation at the Makakilo Kapolei Neighborhood Board. And on September 12, we did another one. Dave Aki, thank you for inviting us. Eva Neighborhood Board, September 12, 2019. If you guys ever want to go to Olelo and spend 3, 4, 5 hours looking at all these presentations, knock yourselves out. Next, please. We also did a property site visit at the property, August 18, 2019, with the neighborhood board of Makakilo Kapolei. That was Robert Helsham. He was on the board at that time. That's Ed Kemper, attorney Ed Kemper. He's the owner of the Island Driver TV. He really was impactful and also helping out. And back in that time, in 98, there was sports car racing done, approved by the Navy. The Navy even told us, hey, this is going to the city, but after it gets transferred, we're going to help you try to get back in there.
Right.
27 years later. Okay. Yeah. And I mentioned that because I get a little grumpy because, you know,
Been a while.
yeah, I don't work in government. Next one, please. Okay, now, SCORP. After we did all the presentations, all the resolutions, all blah, 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 blah. National Park Service. And I work in grants. I do a lot of grants specifically for motorsports recreation at the federal level and at the state. I've done it in California, Hawaii, Texas, Colorado. So one of the requirements for those federal grants is that you participate in the SCORP. And that stands for Statewide Comprehensive Outdoor Recreation Plan. It's a plan that's done every 5 years, and it's what the city, counties, and the state use as a measurement and feedback to find out what are the recreational demands of our community. And it's a 2021 SCORP. They've been doing this for the last 50 years. And it's just 2 months ago, the SCORP was good for 5 years, and 2 months ago, they decided to allow it to be valid for 10 years. So this 2021 SCORP that the motorsports community participated, now it's good till 2031. Next, please. So you see, this is part of the SCORP. Page 31 and page 56. And the SCORP, you can Google it. The majority of people that attended it was the motorsports people. It's all right there. Motorsports enthusiasts attended the majority of public meetings, and over 400 comments encouraged the construction of motorsports facility on Oahu. And they also go as to acknowledging resolution 18-73 that we got done with the city. All of that's in the SCORP. Couple of people from pickleball and rock climbing, they participated. There was like 2 or 3 of them. And there was about 400 of the motorsports people that actually went to every meeting. Next. Now, and this is a little godsend, because people would always saying, especially the conventional ballpark guys, well, motorized recreation is not a recreation. No, there's no ball. If it doesn't have a ball, it's not recreation. I'm like, okay. Well, I guess God heard my prayers. And on May 29, 2024, ironically, 1 week before the title was transferred, the Congressional Research Service came out with this report saying motorized recreation is acknowledged at the federal level. So motorized recreation is recreation. It's official. Next, please. Again, after 26 years, since 1998, finally the 400 acres was transferred June 12, 2024. Covered front page. And then I also want to give a big shout out, and again, and I'm never going to forget this woman. When we build this track, we need a statue of her on it. There's Ann Kobayashi on the other side with my buddy Rick, and she came to the opening. Andrea Topola came, Radiant Cordero, my best friend Kurt Favela too, Augie and Tyler Dos Santos and Sam Conley. They're all over there. Big smiles. So there's our mayor signing the deed. Next, please. The mayor, because he appreciates how much we push this transfer, invited the motorsports community to bring their race cars in front of City Hall. Amazing, huh? Steve Heyer, I want to say hello. He's back there. He's right up front somewhere in there. Oh, there he is in the red shirt. Next, please. And there, because I'm such a pain in the ass, the mayor said, come by and talk. I'm like, okay. And if you see back there, he's going, Laura, how come I didn't get no lays? That's why I made that. Next, please.
Wait. Who's Laura? Everybody doesn't know.
Oh, Laura Thielen, my other best friend. She's the parks director. I've gone through like how many? There's Bill Balford, Lester Chang, Gary Cabato. Now, wow. Oh, Michelle Nakota. Oh my God. I've gone through almost 7 parks directors. Next, please. And there, June 5, 2025, the National Park Service, who at first said, no, motorized recreation is not recreation, Lee. Where'd you get that? Finally go, okay. You guys can do the motorsport stuff. And that was a big announcement that day. Next, please. Now I love this picture. Do you guys know who that is? Anybody? Me?
100 years ago.
You guys are gonna trip. That is Mike Gabbard. And you know that little girl in that back? That's the director of national.
Sorry, that's my oldest son.
Is it? I thought that was Tulsi.
She wasn't born.
No, okay, yeah, I thought that.
1970s in American Samoa.
Is that Davan?
No, actually that's Baki on the front, and that's Jai. And
Oh, okay.
2 boys.
So that's Mike and Carol and the kids. Now, that bike has great marketing significance with Honda. It is the motorcycle that saved the Honda empire because they built it specifically so 2 people can ride on it, and you can even put your kids on it. And then with this bike, they made the slogan, you meet the nicest people on a Honda. And it's true, because there's Mike, and he's really nice. And I think we got another one. That's the last one. Okay, good. And I'm finished.
Okay,
Questions
so-
after the end?
I'm going so we can pass it around. Mel, wait a minute, he's gonna use it here. You have a
We'll
mic?
pass
We
it.
have the 2.
Okay. Any questions? We'll start on.
We put Nate back on screen.
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, Lee's got this one here, right?
Yes, from the laptop.
Yeah, so you're gonna.
Oh, okay.
Pass this one around.
There's Nate. All right. Questions? We'll start in person first, and then we'll do online. Raise your hand if you have. Yes, Bob, start off here.
Yeah.
Wait. She's gonna be the official microphone. That's
Hi, I'm Bob Kraft.
Hi, Bob.
And the question I have, or comment anyway, is I lived in Indianapolis for a few years. And I want to make a comment that I did go to the racetrack and watch the races. It has a great potential for the community, and I saw it firsthand. It completely transformed the community of Indianapolis, having a racetrack there. Everybody was behind it. There was no downside at all to it. So even though I'm neutral on the issue at this moment, I do want to make that comment. It has a lot of potential for the island, for the state. I was also the chaplain for pro football players, motorsport, baseball players, and tennis players. So I had a chance to do Bible studies with Al Unser, people like that,
yeah.
Billy Vukovich, and others, Phil Kruger. And they took me around the racetrack in a car one time. So I was very fortunate with that. But I just want to say that most importantly, I would say that there's great financial and economic potential for the community. So if it's done in the right way and it's not looked at negatively. So that's my comment.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it. And I want to make it clear that we're not even thinking of doing something like a Las Vegas style or stadium. This is no different from like the neighbor islands. If you look at the neighbor island tracks, it's just a 1/4 mile, an oval track, some bleachers, some porta potties. Very simple. What I say, local style racing. And I hate saying the word racing because it's motorsports recreation. You know, little kids on buggies and BMX, pump tracks. And, it's 400 acres. There's a lot of space for a lot of things. So I want to make it clear that we're not trying to take over the whole thing, us car guys.
And to clarify, as well,
John,
the dirt racetrack that's kind of planned right now is actually on about 20 to 23 acres of that park. That is, the racetrack that we have planned for right now is a dirt racetrack, and it's again designed to be something that we provide to the community immediately while we go through the longer master plan process. So there may, what Lee's talking about with like a longer 1/4 mile, bigger racetrack, that's kind of planned for further down the line. What we announced and what we're looking for the immediate future is that dirt racetrack on that parcel of land by Independence Avenue.
All right. Thanks, Nate. And what we'll do is we'll alternate. We'll go online and then go person back and forth. Anybody online have any questions? Meg? No, not yet? Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay, it's my hope that BMX recreation might reduce the incidence of electric bike craziness that we've been seeing going on lately. Maybe, any ideas?
Oh, I'm
on
gonna tell you, when we open this park, I'm gonna push it with the HPD and with the mayor, that if any kid is out there in the streets doing what they're doing, we confiscate their freaking bikes. There's a place and a time for everything, and
Well, the BMX track might be that
Yeah.
time and place.
yeah, and then I want to emphasize, across the street, there's miles and miles of runway paved area. And that literally all it would take is weed whacking and clearing some of the brush. And these guys can already utilize it. I'm hoping, I don't think weed whacking is going to require an EA. Okay, so, and I want to be, everybody, you have to be hopeful. Because I was told for 27 years that the city is not going to take this property. The Navy is not going to let you do any motorsports. The National Park Service will never allow it. Well, look at where we are.
Thank you for your patience and determination.
Isn't that about average for Hawaii?
Pardon?
Isn't it average, but?
It's average for everywhere where there's not some jerk like myself to make it happen.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
So, okay, so just to reiterate what Nate said, there's 2 plots of land. The first, there's the main part, a lot of acres that's gonna be in the master plan. And so that's a ways away. But the first plot that they're gonna be working on is Independence and Coral Sea Road. It's 23 acres, like you said. And I guess my question is, because that's not gonna be in the master plan, so there's all we got word of is they're gonna build a dirt racetrack, and that's great, but whatever. I'm thinking big cars with big tires, and when I met with Lee the other day and he showed us the dune buggies, it's a lot smaller kind of vehicle. My question is what are the rules gonna be for this track? The operating hours, these are things that I think the community really needs to know. Where people are gonna park, how it's gonna be run, the days that they're gonna do racing, just so people understand, because that road is used by all the beachgoers and bicyclists, and then of course there's a housing 100 feet away from the block of the property that, where the bus route and all that, so it's gonna change the traffic flow a little bit on the days that races happen. And so those things need to be accounted for somehow. I don't know if a traffic study is needed, but those are just all things that I'm thinking about, how it's gonna operate, and having that already out in the public domain before it actually takes place.
Sure. Thank you, Roger. And those are legitimate concerns and I appreciate it. But like we say in the car community, let's not put the parachute in front of the engine. Okay. All of that is going to be dealt with. And right now, we're just trying to we already got State Historic Preservation Division approval to start cutting the grass on the first parcel. We're waiting for the second. There's a lot of stuff we got to do just to even figure out exactly where the water and the sewer lines. And so, people are calling me, asking me, what color are you going to paint the bathrooms? And I tell them, let's not put the parachute in front of the engine. So believe me, everything that you just mentioned, by law, we have to have all that dotted with the city. And remember, this is a city project. It's not like some private entity.
But it
Yes.
sounds like you're running it though. Is the city gonna be?
It's under the city. It's under the city.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not me.
But you just said that you got to do things.
Hang on. And Nate,
When are you us as a community?
Nate,
Okay.
jump in anytime you want. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, let me clarify. It is a partnership. Yeah, so this is city land, and this is going to be a city facility. And so the determination, I mean, there was a comment about kind of the economics of it. With park facilities, we focus on making our facilities accessible. So we're not as much concerned about the economics of things. We want to provide opportunities for the public. And so while Lee is partnering with us on this, he is correct. and that everything needs to come through us, and it will. And so I know a lot of concern has come about. Lee mentioned, a lot of the work that he's done over the years, working with the community to try and get, the consensus that we need a motorsport facility. I want to reiterate that this is right now, this dirt racetrack is for that 23-acre parcel so that we can do that concurrently while we have the larger master plan project. The racetrack is not the be-all, end-all use of the 400 acres of Kalaeloa land. We are planning on having much more recreational opportunities available, much more recreational facilities that we plan for the other parcels and potentially this parcel in the future. So again, the idea is to have this dirt racetrack developed while we go through the larger master plan process.
Great.
I gotta go.
Anyone else? Yes, sir. Hang on. Microphone. Oh, got it. Great.
Yeah, I'm Alex Gauss, I think we corresponded Lee and.
Oh, well, yeah,
Yeah, thank you, Lee, thank you, Nate and Senator Gabbard, appreciate it. So, I'm the vice chair with the neighborhood board and the acting chair, and I only say that so you guys know my role there. And there's a few of us here on the board, and I say that again, also preface it with saying that, that doesn't, like, I like the idea of a racetrack. My kid did a lot of this when he was younger, and I like the idea. I have some questions that I think that I've heard at our board meetings and within the community that I think is good for you guys to know, the people that support this to think about and be able to answer. And so like I know a lot of this is yet to be determined. So, we saw basically go-karts and, is it go-karts and quads, or is it cars, and being open and kind of clear on what this is actually going to look like will really be helpful for people to understand what's going to be coming in. And so being super transparent about that, I think, is actually a good thing, right? Because I think there is going to be, in the Evan community, I think there will be a lot of support, although there will be some vocal people against it, like with everything. And so I think, being clear on what's going to be there, being clear that that interim track is actually pretty close to some rental homes. And so just to be like, let's not run away from that stuff. Let's confront it and be straight up about it, right? And so, I guess one of my concerns is, the presentation was given in 2019. That's when I first came on the board. So I must have just missed it. But like, it's been 5-6 years and no one's heard about this. And so when we hear about a track coming in and no one on the board is even really familiar with it, it's a little bit of a choke. It's a shock, right? And so I think just having better communication in contemporary, more modern times would be really good for you guys, for the city, for Nate, for everything. And then I'm sorry I'm talking long, but I just had some thoughts. And then with the interim area, I guess the concern, we're talking about bringing in water and these kinds of things. That almost, the concern would be is that going to turn into something permanent? And or what is interim? Is interim 2 years? Is it 10 years? What does that mean, right? And so I think all that needs to be more clearly communicated, and there needs to be open conversation about it, or else I think people just stand up and start going against things because there's no information, right? And so I don't know, those are my thoughts. I think it'd be really good to get another presentation to the board, especially if some of those things are clear. Like I said, those go-karts, is that a racetrack for go-karts? Man, I would actually hope for a little bit more than that personally, but that's my personal opinion. I'm not speaking.
the go-karts that we were showing, the buggies. My intent with that video is to show you, this is 180 feet away from homes.
This is at Coral Crater.
Coral Crater Venture Park.
Yeah.
Okay. And they never get any complaints. 186.
But that's not a race car, right?
It's
motor.
Well, and that's what I'm talking
it's
about.
motorized
I
recreation.
feel like that's deceptive. Like showing a little go-kart next to housing is not the same as what's going to be at this track, and showing that and talking specifically about that.
The Kalaeloa Raceway Park was on the same street, just the next parcel down. Okay, where we're proposing this area, and it was open for 4 years. I have a letter from the Department of Health that they never ever got a noise complaint, and they had the high power, really loud cars, and no one ever filed a noise complaint. I can share that with you.
So maybe Nate, talk about that interim status and timeline. What are your thoughts on that too? Or Lee, but I'd be curious.
Yes. Yeah, so on the interim status, that's a really good question on the timeline. And the right now there's really no good answer on exactly how long the racetrack could be there. And as I mentioned before, through the master planning process, if when that racetrack's there, if the community likes it there, and in the master planning process we determine actually, hey, we like this here, we want to keep it there, it could become permanent. But we don't know that yet. So the idea is to have that racetrack in place for the master planning process. I think the bigger question is, how long is that going to take? And unfortunately, I really don't have the answer to that. The best I can give you is that we have put I think it was about $1.8 million towards the master planning process, to getting it going for the Kalaeloa land. That also includes trying to renovate the campgrounds there as well too. So you're not just focusing on the racetrack right now, but we are looking at some of our existing facilities. The Kalaeloa campgrounds haven't had a designated comfort station for years. And so now that we have title over that land, we can actually do longer term capital improvement projects. So we're starting to put money towards not just the master plan, but towards campgrounds there. So, unfortunately, I'm involved in the master plan right now that we're developing for Kahuku, for the pool that we're going to build up there. And the hope is that we can get the shovels in the ground during this administration while we have the political will to build that facility. My thinking is that would be similar to this, is that we would like to have a master plan completed during this administration. But that it depends on a lot of the factors of, the studies, the community input. So unfortunately, I don't have a timeline on how long a master plan would take. And then to speak, yeah, sorry.
Hang on. Go ahead, Nate. Finish.
Yeah, sorry to speak to your point real quick about transparency. Completely agree with you on that. And if anything, a kalamai on my part for not having more information available. For that news release that we put out right after we made the announcement at the town hall really had the bulk of the information that we have available now, and that's kind of what we're basing off of now. But I hear you on a lot of these questions, and one of my intents is to actually build a website specifically for this project where we can have all this information available to the public, because certainly we want to have consistent, accurate information for everyone to see, so that they're not, what the information that we can share is consistent and can be easily accessible by anyone in the community.
Alex, you want to?
Yeah, my final comment is just, so I think that's great. Like I said, I actually like the idea of the racetrack. I just, so when we're talking about like the interim, because like EIS, that like it could easily be 5 years or more. Like I know people, parks and all that stuff. So great if it could happen in the admin, but let's just be realistic. So I think part of that is just being transparent with that too. When we're talking about, oh, it's just interim. Well, let's not act like it could turn permanent. Like be super upfront about all that stuff, in my opinion. So thank you.
I just want to say one thing. I really want the community to really respect the effort that the motorsports community has put into this.
Yeah, I believe we have a update that we're going to provide to the city council in August in the Parks Committee. Typically Parks Committee meetings are on Tuesdays. I think it's August 19th is, they haven't come out with the schedule yet, but I believe Tuesday, August 19th. No, typically it's around 2:30. But certainly, as I mentioned before, hopefully, I'll try and find out if we're gonna try and launch the website before that or after that. But that's probably the best next public opportunity. And then again, try and kind of have the consistent information available online on that website I mentioned. But that city council presentation is going to be another good opportunity for public, for them to ask questions and for us to present this.
Thank you for that, Nate. Now, for the people in Ever Beach, you know who I am. I sat on the board. You guys get questions for Lee, invite them to the meeting. Real simple. Now you get all the time to talk to him. Okay? Let me know when they invite you. I want to come. Nate, thank you so much for your information regarding the notices, yeah? Aloha.
Thank you.
I just had a couple things. I came in late, so I don't know what was done in the beginning. They're saying buggies or whatnot. What is I'm pro racing. I love noise and I smell nitro. I'm sorry, guys, but I was raised in it. But at the on the dirt track, what level is like? They said buggies, carts. What do you want there? Like you were talking wing sprints on the thing, or no?
There's a lot of guys who are into wing sprints. boards here, and a lot of those vehicles can be accommodated with silencers.
That's what I wanted to tell them too. So
I just wanted to put out there that there's guys like me that enjoy EV racing, which do no noise at all. So I mean, we're gonna be benefiting from this park as well. So I just wanted to, you know, have you guys keep that in mind, that there's other people that would benefit from this racetrack.
Thank you. Anyone else? I just want to make a comment because my three board members from Eva here.
Coming.
Want to make sure.
Sorry, I just wanted the people online to make sure they can hear you.
None of us, the three, have talked about noise. So we're not against the track. We're not against anything. We just want to be informed and know what's going to happen and how it's going to all work ahead of time, and actually be able to have a voice, because we are the Eva neighborhood board, and the community comes, and just have a voice of what's going to happen there, and at least get our comments in, so that the city and the race folks know how the community feels. And that this was all put out. There's the Parks Department put out a announcement. Hey, there's going to be a racetrack in Kalaeloa. It's like, what? I mean, how did that all happen? Why weren't we talked to first, or at least? I know that. I know it's been years in the going, but you know, we've been on the board for 6 years, couple years, and there's a couple long timers still left. But that's how those things rotate, and that's all. So that's what we're just at. We're not against it. We just want to know what's going to go on and be part of it. Thanks.
Completely understand. And as someone who's on the Waikiki neighborhood board as well too, I completely see your point.
Yeah. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay.
Want to take a for and against vote?
It's a no action meeting.
All right, so I just wanted to say thank you all very much for coming and for your input.